This is Grant Fisher, field staff for Serviceside. Just got settled in for the morning a few minutes ago. It's Thanksgiving morning. Fairly cold out here for upstate South Carolina, mid 40s. Just got settled in and we'll see what happens the rest of the morning. We just had a few does cruise through downhill below us. My setup here is on a White Oak Ridge. We're about 65-70 yards down below from a 6 or 7 year old cutover that's fairly thick, serves as good bedding area, and the deer transition a lot between these white oaks and the cutover, feeding, looking for does, just checking scrapes, just different things during times of year. But right now they're mainly slowing down after the rut, they're hitting food sources. We still got a few white oaks on the ground, so they're coming through feeding. We've seen those does, and I had a 1.5-year-old buck come through, and it's getting a little about an hour after daylight, and it's getting kind of breezy now. We're going to sit for a couple more hours to see what we have. It's coming up about 38 yards. This buck walking in now. Alright, so a few minutes ago I had what appeared to be a pretty good buck. He came down the hill, but he got to where I didn't have a shot off to my right because the white oak limbs are so thick. I watched him for about 10 minutes and couldn't really tell how big he was. He didn't appear to be what I thought was a shooter. And then there was only one lane he'd come through, and he turned and came through that lane, and when he got out in that lane, he appeared to be bigger, a little better than I thought. So I decided I was going to take a shot on him, and he got up the hill where it was a little further shot than I thought, but it was 38 yards, so it's still plenty capable. And I couldn't tell great about the shot, how it hit. It looked good and he reacted fairly good, but I'm going to go back, play the video in a minute and see what it looks like, and I'm going to give about an hour and a half and get down and see what kind of sign I got. Alright, it's been about an hour and 15 minutes since I shot, and not totally sure about the shot, but I think it was good. Might have been a hair bit back, but he was quartering away from me, so I think it'll be alright in this situation. I'm gonna start to climb down and go up and see what sign I can find. If I don't find much sign, I'm just gonna back out and go back and watch the footage, because I don't want the deer to be bedded down up in that cutover uphill and be able to see me walking out. I'm up here where the deer is standing now, and I hadn't looked for about 10 yards both ways. I hadn't seen any blood, any sign, but I know the deer's hit and he ran off with the arrow, so I'm going to run back, check it on the computer, just to get a better idea of where the deer's hit exactly, because I don't want him to be bedded up in this cutover and me walk up on top of the hill and he see me and get up. Now I came home and I reviewed the footage, and I can tell the deer's hit further back than I'd like to be hit with the arrow, but he's still quartering away. I feel like it's a lethal hit, but the deer needs some time to die, so I'm gonna give him several hours and go back and take a friend with the dog later this afternoon and see what we can do with the track. Hopefully we'll be able to recover him without too much troubles.
You can cover. But right there, it's pine, turns into pines, and that's on the other side of the clear cut. My dog was right there, and we turned around. I didn't ever see anything or nothing. I mean,
y'all spent a bunch of time right there, didn't you?
right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or right there where he was at. Spent a bunch of time. Not so much right there. We kind of made it just a loop and come back.
Let me see where Spud's at now. If he goes on up in there, that's Loblolly Pines. I think is the correct name for them.
Where?
Up there across the road.
Is there any cut over on the other side of the road?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good too.
But it's clear, I mean, it was.
Take him down there, and when he come back by me, he had a purple. And when he got by me, coming back up that river, he got there, and I looked down, there's a bloody bed. But there's no telling how many times he's bedded down through there. I mean, he could have bedded, like, he could have easily bedded right where you saw the clothes, there's a bed right there.
Oh, okay, I didn't see
and it's just up on the bank, there's a bed there, and then the deer was laying on that side. So we obviously didn't hear him cross the river. I mean, he could have heard us coming off this hill and slid across, and where he was laying up there, it wasn't a bed. It was just a pile of crap. It wasn't. So I don't know. I mean, he could have left that cut over earlier today and slipped down here after y'all left. He could have been up nearby the road where y'all didn't go, and what y'all could have pushed him up into them pines, you know. And he could have been up there, and y'all could have left. And he decided to come back home. I'm surprised to cross the river without anybody like dead on him, but. Maybe he heard us coming down through here, got out of that bed, and slipped across. But I mean, ain't nothing y'all did wrong, seriously. I mean, that's just.
I mean, we went everywhere we thought we would be.
Y'all were on him all the way to them pines up there.
You know,
I
pulled him off in pines.
Well, yeah.
I pulled him off.
Well, the only thing you could have done is say, here, on a dog that wants to run. If you'd have put your dog on that deer when he first was shot this morning, and just let him eat, he'd have run him probably in that same loop. He'd have been right down here, but he'd have been a hot deer. After, what is it, 15 hours, 16 hours?
Yeah, I shot at 8. What is it, 11 o'clock?
Yeah, it's 11:15.
So when we got to the pines, I pulled him off because I didn't see no sign, and I was gonna leave.
He never left any sign.
I mean, he's never bled a drop.
He bled a little. There's like watery, slick blood in that bed.
And I had blood for like 100 yards in the cutover, and that's kind of when we backed out. Unbelievable.
Here you go. That's a nice. See the blood right there? Why his right G2 on that leaf?
Right here?
Yeah. You see that? And what's the on that where his right G2 is on that little leaf? That's what the blood looked like where I found that bed down there. I said, you got to be kidding me.
And yeah, that's before we seen him, right?
That's before y'all see when he opened over there, I said, that's a different bark, you know. I said, y'all check that and make sure. And I guess y'all just saw his eyes.
Well, I took off running, and I said, he wants me to check it, and I knew.
I was trying to jump over logs. I was like, here, hold my bow. I was like, no, go. We'll get there. And I chopped my leg off.
I couldn't see nothing. I turned this light on, and I saw eyes. And then when he got here, we couldn't really see. Well, when he got here, we couldn't. We saw it for a minute, and then when you got started up the hill,
you saw him good.
I was pretty sure that I was for sure that it was a deer. I just couldn't tell. I saw the deer take off walking.
Yeah, we could see two sets of eyes.
I was standing from here to that tree from him.
So that video, I mean, it looked. I don't know. It looked like it was more forward, but.
That's where you fried it. I mean, that you would think that deer had been dead by now.
How much? You said we couldn't really tell how much air was still in, right? After you went down the bank.
I mean, I saw about that much air.
Yeah, that's about what I thought it was.
It was like not that much.
Yeah. So when he stood up, you seen the air in him?
No, it was on the other side
yeah.
here. And when he turned, I just saw the air whenever I hit. Man, that's fun.
And then he was freaking out. It was like, man, that deer.
He ain't coming across.
Hey, what you doing, party pooper? Getting you some waters? You had to work hard for that one, boy. That's one of your toughest tracks all year.
When do we start? Right at probably 8:45.
Yeah, and it's 11:15, 9:45, 10:45, 2 hours and a half.
And still kicking.
Still getting it. We got another one around. Oh crap.
Oh god. I can't thank these two guys enough. Shot him at 8 o'clock this morning. We backed out, gave him 3 hours, gave it one try on the track, and gave it all we could, and decided to come back later this afternoon. Got here about 8:30 started it?
Yeah, 8:30 sir.
And now it's approaching 11:15. We ran him all the way down to the river, and a real difficult track, and finally jumped him up and was able to put him down. Crazy story. I got you, bud.
He's gonna tell the story for us. Say it was real easy.